So at last, with episode 2 of Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's House, we get our first glimpse into this season's most beloved character. At least for me. I have been waiting for a long time to see Adam Taylor on screen and in action. Obviously, as I said in this video when I talked at length about why I just love this character, I said that I did not even expect to hear him speak at all. And was I right? Of course I was. Now, whether or not we get him in the future just opening up more remains to be seen. But for now, I'm just so excited that we finally get to see him on screen. So again, this episode just picks up from where we left off on episode 1. Now it's morning and Raeliana is absolutely hungover from yesterday's fun and merriment over at the party. Turns out that she's a lightweight and she cannot handle her liquor very well. However, as much as she would like to stay in and just get a few hours extra sleep, she has to get up because there is a guest, and a very important guest, and nobody else but she can greet him. And of course, it is 𝙏𝙼𝙖𝙠. Raeliana is forced to go and get ready, and I kind of wish that we would have gotten a little bit more insight into just how miserable she's feeling. She actually feels like throwing up at that moment, but she soldiers on like a good girl and has this conversation with 𝙏𝙼, which we actually don't get into at all. There are some little panels that the manhwa has that the anime doesn't include here, and it's not like important plot points at all, but I just think that it's little lighthearted things. In this case, we have all of her servants just peeking in and trying to spy on them while they're having this conversation. I thought that this was pretty funny. And the fact that he showed up to her house is enough gossip fuel for her staff to begin to talk about the relationship. Of course, it's a big deal that she managed to land a duke, but it's also worth knowing that Raeliana is the only one who managed to reel him in when there were other women who tried to get him but failed. So apparently in that visit, 𝙏𝙼 told her to come and visit him at his house so they can discuss about their arrangement. So she has to get ready and prepare a contract. However, it seems that she needs some help crafting a proper legal document. So what does she do? Does she hire a lawyer? Nope, she does not. She's going to take matters into her hands, and she's gonna write it herself with the help of this very amazing looking book. I don't know, I like this anime and I like the tone it sets out, but somehow I find the books really jarring, like they take me out of the story. I wouldn't mind it so much if they kept all the little silly reactions and they gloss over a lot of the funny bits in this webcomic. And so seeing these books, it's just so weird. But anyway, so that evening, Raeliana is about to talk with her parents, and she tells them that she does not want to marry Francis Brooks. And she expects them to argue about it, but to her surprise, and honestly to our surprise, they are okay with her choice. They just want her to be happy. And the fact is that in this anime, her parents aren't trash. They're not going to force her to marry someone against her will. Raeliana's parents are super supportive. They just want her to be happy, and it all just goes to, make her feel really bad because she took over their daughter's life. So she feels super guilty about this. But there really isn't anything she can do. All she can do is just forge on ahead and try to save their daughter's life. To this end, she goes to visit Duke 𝙏𝙼𝙖𝙠 to try to at least hammer out the details of their contract. Or at least she hopes to iron out all the details. However, when she sees him, he seems to be uncooperative, cold. There's none of that charm that he had been putting on when he came to visit her. He just wants cut to the chase, let's talk about this. And so she opens immediately with what she knows about the royal seal. And the thing is, he doesn't bite. Even though she tells him that he's the one that has the seal, and she even tells him where the seal is hidden, he's still not interested in entering into some kind of contractual relationship. In the end, he basically kicks her out, basically tells her this is such a waste of time, go away, blah blah blah. But before she can walk away, she looks at the chessboard that was in his office and tells him about moving a certain piece. Now, for those of you who do not play chess, It might take a little bit of mental gymnastics to try to follow along this conversation, but worry not, it's not really important. The chess is just a symbolic thing throughout the series. Spoiler alert, the chess never comes out again as far as I remember. They just use the chessboard because it appears in this one scene. But other than that, I really do not remember the chess playing a huge part in the series. But nevertheless, she uses the chessboard to demonstrate her deep understanding of the current state of affairs of the kingdom and manages to impress him with that kind of insider knowledge. I suppose the lesson in this story is if you want to get your man, be sure to know your chess, but take that with a grain of salt. I myself only learned how to play chess while in college, only to get closer to the president of the chess club, who was a total dreamboat and totally worth spending several hours a week learning and playing chess for, just so we could have more things in common. Did it work? Nope. But at least all of that has led me to this day so that I may be able to see this chessboard and make sense of it, because otherwise this whole conversation would have been over my head. It takes a while for them to finally come to an agreement. He wants to know her sources, she doesn't want to give them because obviously she would have to tell him all about how she's from another world and how she's living in a book and she knows all these things, the ending from the beginning. In the end, he agrees to her terms, but something about his smile kinda gives her pause, because maybe, just maybe, she may have landed herself into an even more precarious situation than she was with Francis Brooks. That will remain to be seen, of course. Soon the papers are talking all about her relationship with Noah, while there's other news that Francis Brooks and his family are suing her parents for breach of contract because they broke off the engagement. Meanwhile, Raeliana is reading all this feeling kind of pissed off, not only because of the news but also because she looks behind her and there's this silent red-eyed observer who's just following her everywhere she goes. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my favorite character of this series, and it is Adam Taylor. Behold, he is so precious. Raeliana, however, does not feel comfortable with him at all, and she tells us a little bit of his backstory, how he used to be a child soldier and how Noah took him in when there was nobody else around to care for him, and now he serves him loyally. One thing we also learn about Adam Taylor is the fact that he comes from a race of people that are usually seen with much distrust. They're seen as savages almost. And so I believe that during this whole episode, during his interactions and how he's observing Raeliana, one of the things that must be surprising to him is the fact that Raeliana does not treat him with the contempt that other people would. And in this scene where Raeliana is with her adorable sister and Adam Taylor helps them free a balloon from a tree's branch, Raeliana even tells her sister that she has to be thankful. And not only that, but when Raeliana learns that he really likes sweet stuff, she gives him the entire bag of chocolate-covered almonds. And I must say, Raeliana, you're a smart girl because there's some people that you can bribe them with really expensive stuff. And then there's people like Adam, probably, who seems to be the kind that all he really wants is somebody to really appreciate him and maybe give him some sweets now and then. Again, when I see Adam Taylor's little reactions, even though he doesn't say absolutely anything in this whole episode, I'm just like, my little heart just feels so happy. The next day, it is time for Raeliana to move into the Duke's castle. Now, this is something that she has to do. It's one of the requirements that he set for them to be engaged. So for the next 6 months, while they are doing this phony engagement thing, she's going to be moving into his house so that she can get some bridal training. This is where the episode ends. Those were the shortest 20 minutes of my life. And I think that's a sign of a really good anime with good pacing and good story. In this episode, we covered 5 chapters, so we're going at a pretty good pace. Last week it was only 4, this is 5, so we'll see how many next week covers. How will Raeliana start her new life? How will she and Noah get along now that they're living under the same roof? Will there be more Adam Taylor around? Who knows? We'll get to see that later. Overall, again, I found this a very enjoyable episode. You get your little intrigues, but for the most part, I was here for the cuteness. I was here for Adam Taylor, of course. And no, it's not that I'm simping for him. I really am not. You guys know my type. I just find him adorable. That's all. So anyway, those were my thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Again, the voice dubbing for this one is incredible. I listened to it in the original Japanese. So good. Noah's voice is really deep and really rich. It's like dark chocolate. I love it. And also, I've been watching it in English dub and Spanish dub, and I must admit that the Spanish dub is also very excellent. Overall, I'm just so pleased that Crunchyroll decided to release the dub simultaneously. And I hope that the fact that there's so many people that are basically just discovering this manhwa and are discovering the genre by it, that they see how amazing it is and that we get more of this in future seasons. Alright, so that's all for today. See you all on Monday for the next episode. Bye bye.